In today's video, I'm going to show you what you need to know about the new changes that has come to the FortiGate firewall. IPsec VPN is replacing the SSLVPN in the 7.60 version for this following models. So you could see that SSL VPN is being removed from the 2 gig models. You mostly would see these changes from version 7.6, 40F, 60E, 60F, 61E, 80E, 81E, 90E, 91E, and 60F. Now, please note this is more of the 2 gig variant, the 2 gig version. So one thing that you need to do is to use the dial-up IPsec VPN, and that's exactly what this video is about today. When I found out about these changes, I was kind of like caught off guard, and I was like, because I basically lost access to SSL VPN. And then I figured out that was actually peculiar to certain models and not all models. Because I've actually upgraded to 7.60 in other models, and I didn't have the issue of the SSL VPN being gone. So basically, I'm going to upgrade this firewall to 7.60. This firewall is currently on 7.43. I'm going to put it on 7.60, and then I'm going to show you that this features is gone now. If we go to System, we go to Features and Visibility, you could see that we have the option of SSL VPN. So what then happens is once this is upgraded to 7.60, you will notice this feature will no longer be available. The first thing to do is to upgrade the firmware. Current firmware version is 7.43. I'm going to upgrade this to 7.60. Choosing the upgrade. What I always like is to follow the upgrade path. So you could see there's an upgrade path. It will tell you what is the latest, which is 7.44 and then 7.60. So I basically could install both of them. You could follow the upgrade path. If I go to 7.60, I do know I can upgrade directly from 7. What was it called? 7.43 to 7.60. So let's just go from 7.43 to 7.43 to 7.44. I always like to just do all the upgrade one after the other. This is going to back up and run the upgrade. So now I have the 7.44, and as you can still see, I still have the SSL VPN still enabled, but once I upgrade from 7.44 up to 7.60, especially with the 40F, what you'll see is the SSL VPN setting will be gone. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the upgrade. 7.60. Now you could actually see here it says 7.60 or greater has consolidated the VPN, and you'll no longer see the function, so you are expected to use the IPsec VPN instead of the SSL VPN. Of course, you could actually look at some of the documentation here. But that's actually not where we're going. We're basically just going to go ahead and perform the upgrade to 7.6. Okay, so we're in 7.60. Of course, you could watch the video to see what changes or what new features exist. So I'm just going to go back to the VPN, and then this is what happened. You basically, the first time I saw this, I basically was like lost for words. Like, where was it? I forgot that I saw the notice earlier where it tells you that you actually will lose the functionality. I was like, oh no, it's still going to be there. So I basically went to features and visibility, and lo and behold, it's basically gone off from the core features. I looked everywhere and I could not find SSL VPN in the list. It's gone. So basically, you have to use the IPsec VPN. So that's what this video is about. So This video is about how to set up your IPsec VPN using the dial-up. So it starts as a replacement for the SSLVPN. So what we're going to choose is you're going to choose this option here where you have the remote client, which is basically going to be either your phone or your laptop through the VPN tunnel to the FortiGate firewall, which is basically the same way an SSL VPN works. So you will give this a name. That's if you're using this wizard. You could actually set it up using custom option as well. So let's call this remote VPN, and then we click begin. Now once you click begin, it's basically going to walk you through the steps. So the VPN client type that you have is basically FortiClient. Of course, if you want to set this up for iOS or for Android or for Windows or for Cisco devices, those are the options that you choose. Notice the difference in the features of the client type. For the clients, you have more features. Now what we need is the endpoint IP address range. The endpoint IP address is basically the IP address is going to assign to your device once they connect over to VPN. So in this case here, let's say I choose 10.212.212.100 you notice this is a range, so it's very important that you put it in the range. Let's use about 10, so that gives me 110. Now leave the subnet mask as /32. That's there's nothing to change, just leave the subnet mask as is. Now you have the option to do auto connect, keep alive, which for now I'm just going to leave it as a default, and then I'm going to go next. You could actually choose your security posture tags. This is beyond the scope of this training, so I'm going to click next, and then here you notice I've moved from the remote endpoint and I'm currently on the VPN tunnel. So the VPN tunnel, I'm using a pre-shared key. The pre-shared key that I'm going to use here is going to be something that I would have to remember. So in this case here, you could choose to use IKE version 1 or IKE version 2, whatever choice of IKE you want to use. Let's just go with version 1 for this. For simplicity, in this case, you could use IKE version 2. Of course, there are some features differences with IKE version 1 or version 2, but notice that your IKE version is very important because that's actually going to be the same version you're going to set on the FortiClient. So I'm going to choose version 1. My keep alive frequency, I'm going to leave it as a default. My NAT transverse, I'm going to leave it as a default. Now the user group, this is where I'm going to select the group that I want. I could choose the user group that I want, so I could choose different user group that I also I can create a new user group by creating a new user group just the same way a user group is being created. The next thing we're going to do is you need to either specify your DNS server or you could use the system DNS. In this case, I'm just going to use a Google DNS. Now this is where a lot of people get tripped off. Now by default, split tunnel is enabled just the same way in SSL VPN, whereby you're using tunnel mode. If you want to use full tunnel, you turn this off. If you want to use split tunnel, you turn this on. That's just as simple as that. So I'm just going to use split tunnel for simplicity. You could always test it with full tunnel. Now I'm going to leave allow endpoint registration the way it is, which is very important. Click next, and then notice I'm now on the final step, which is basically the local FortiGate. So now notice I've done the remote endpoint, I've done the VPN tunnel, now I'm on the local FortiGate. Now you have to choose what incoming interface you want to bind the tunnel to. Normally we bind this to, guess what, the WAN interface. That's where the traffic is coming in through. Now where do you want this traffic to go when it comes through the WAN? Most of the time you want people to access your network as if they are, you connect to the VPN as if they are actually on the network, on the LAN. So you have to choose the interface that you want them to have access to via VPN. So in this case here, I'm just going to choose, you have the Office VLAN, wireless VLAN, yes, security. So definitely, I just want them to have access to the office VLAN as if they are in the office. That's basically what that is. And I'm going to choose the subnets for that particular um, interface. You could actually, if you don't know which one, you could just choose all. That's also going to work as well, as long as you choose the interface. You could actually you could say you want to have multiple interfaces. You can say that will give them access to multiple interfaces. This is basically what you want them to have access to once they connect into the into the once they connect using the remote access VPN. Click next, and then that will give you the summary, and then click submit. Now, one thing you will notice is we didn't talk about the Diffie-Hellman group. We didn't talk about the authentication types and things like that. We're going to go back again into the VPN. We're going to edit this, and then you will see that on the phase 1, you see the encryption type. This encryption type is actually very important that you note this, because this must match the same encryption type that you need to use on your FortiClient. So in this case here, I'm just going to scroll down. I'm going to use a very good encryption type. In this case, I'm just going to use 256 AES and then 256 SHA. Actually, I do not have 256 SHA. Isn't that interesting? Okay. Which I do have it here. For some reason I don't have it here. Okay, I'm just going to remove this one. So I have 256 SHA here, probably because I've already used it down that out, so I couldn't find it. 256 AES, 256 SHA, and then you could use 256 AES again and MD5 if you want, or you could use SHA 512. Whatever option you want to use. Let me just drop this down to 128 for some reason. Just dump it down. Now click OK. As in, just I want to use this to authentication in my phase 1. My DH group is going to be 14 only, nothing else. Now I'm going to leave the key lifetime to 86400. You can change the key lifetime. Now the next thing I'm going to do in this case here is to set my phase 2. This is where you set your phase 2. So you click on edit, and then once you click edit, you'll see the same thing you have for your encryption. So here we're going to use 256 AES, 256 SHA. Let's remove this. I think that's why that one is no longer available. Yeah, good. So 256 AES, 256 SHA, and then we're going to use it, say AES 128 and MD5. That's basically the same I use. I'm going to remove the other ones. I'm going to leave only 14, and then if you do not want to use Diffie-Hellman, you could basically turn off PFS. So turn that off, that Diffie-Hellman goes off. So in this case, I'm just going to leave it on, and then everything remains as default. But the key lifetime here, notice in phase 2, this is the key lifetime for the phase 2. So I'm just going to leave it as default as is also. And then once I'm done with this setting is very important. You can basically note this down, because you're going to need this setting in your FortiClient. So I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to open my FortiClient. Click OK. Open my FortiClient. I'm going to add a new connection, and then you give it. This time, you notice by default is on SSLVPN, and we're going to choose IPsec VPN. So this, we're going to call this. You give it the name of your VPN, and then for the remote access, for the remote gateway, you put in your IP address. Now we're using a pre-share key, so you type in the pre-share key you use, which is very important. Now this is where the fun begins. So you go to advanced setting, you start with the VPN setting. Notice I told you we're using phase, so as in version 1 of IK. If you're using version 2, you choose version 2. If you're using version 1, you choose version 1. The mode we're using is aggressive. You can confirm the mode as well. We're going to leave this as is, and then we're going to go to phase 1. In phase 1, this is what I was trying to explain. So you can see I have 2 different IK proposal. There is no I could choose null here. So basically I'm going to use AES 128 and MD5, and then I'm going to use AES256 up here and SHA-256. That's what I have. And then I have my DH group as 14. The key life 86400, that's what I have for my phase 1. So every other thing remains as is. So I'm going to go to phase 2. And then on phase 2, I'm going to set the same thing for my encryption, AES256, SHA-256, AES128, and MD5. Now notice this is 43200, just the same way my key life was on my phase 2. So I'm going to change the DH group here to 14. Notice my ERD is enabled and PFA is also enabled. So basically I have this. This is what you need to set when you click on save. And now the group. Now, if you notice, I selected the group earlier when I was creating, what was it called? When I was creating the VPN, the tunnel. I mean, the VPN tunnel using the wizard. I selected the group, and this is the group down here. You could basically create a group. So my what's it called? My username is actually in the group. If you do not have a group, you could create a group from here under user group, and then you can also create a user definition as well. So basically, that's what you can do. So what I'm going to do is go back to my VPN tunnel. So I have everything set up already. So now I'm going to go back to my FortiClient and I'm going to log in to my VPN. And then click on connect. Now, one thing I wish that they would do is that they will put in the counter for the status to show the percentage in which it's connecting, but it doesn't do that. It basically would just connect to the VPN without doing the counter like the SSLVPN does. I hope FortiGate or Fortinet will actually improve on this in the future. That actually would help to also troubleshoot to figure out where exactly the issue is coming from. As you can see I'm basically connected. Nothing has been transmitted yet. The next thing I'm going to do is to refresh this. If you refresh this page, you basically will see that I have the tunnel connected, and you can see that this is my dialog connection. So you could see right now I do not have any traffic going out, so I could actually push some traffic out. So to do that, let me get this information, then I'll push the traffic out. So let's say I hope that's actually it. I mean, if I have access to that subnet, I have access to the office subnets, which is this one here, 10.13 to 10.1. So here, and then you could see that this opens my firewall, and then if I go back to my VPN now and I go back to my dial-up connection, you will see now I have traffic incoming and outgoing. So that's basically that. So now we have everything we need. So if you disconnect the tunnel on your FortiClient, click on VPN disconnect, so just disconnect. That definitely will take down this tunnel. Once this is successfully disconnected, I'm waiting for the disconnection. That's done, and then if I refresh this, you'll notice it's gone. And then if you come back here and then you refresh this page, I wish this will auto refresh also, and then you notice it's gone. So it's the same similar features as SSLVPN. The only difference is that if you're setting up an SSLVPN, all you're doing is just the remote gateway, and there's no advanced option as in for the encryption type. But for IPsec, you need to configure the phase 1 and phase 2. Those are very important. You also need to configure your IGE version, and your pressure key is also very important as well. But in SSLVPN, those features are not there. So I hope this video has been helpful to those who actually for some reason have to upgrade from 4.3 due to the vulnerability to 7.6, and then panicking that their SSL VPN is gone. This is what they can use to, or what you can use to actually still leverage the VPN connection for the client. You just have to just um, configure more features on the for the client to actually make this work. It's still working on the mobile phone as well, just the same way it's been working on SSL VPN, so it's the same process. Though I've noticed that some iOS version has certain features that not that's not that great, but yeah, you could actually configure something more specific for them as well. Um, Please put in the comments and click like and share, and let me know how this help you to get your clients connected back to the network using FortiClient. Thank you for watching.